ESPN2 and on your smart speakers. Just say play ESPN Radio. It is time for the key observations brought to you by Geico. Switch to Geico today and see all the ways you could save. Key, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this is interesting because it's really about basically what I've seen in my observations in the preseason. I got a little nugget in there. College football started this past weekend. And at number five, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They should just simply sell their program. Sell the football program, man. Give it to somebody else to run. And I'm just being honest with you. I know Nebraska fans that are listening and on Nebraska stations probably don't like what I'm about to say.
Oh, they do.
But Scott Frost, come on, man. Y'all sitting around playing around with Scott Frost when you had Bo Pelini winning games. You had Mike Riley turning the program around. Y'all keep messing around with Scott Frost. I understand he's the favorite son. I get all of that. But come on now. Stop. The program is just, I can't even watch their football. And I was rooting for them, too. I really wanted them to win the game. And they messed around and tricked it off.
Number four,
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers got me concerned because of their offensive line. I wasn't concerned about the offensive line for some weird reason a week ago. But then all of a sudden, as days went by, I started to get a little more concerned because they started losing players. Now I'm saying Tom Brady can't make up the difference on the offensive line. He certainly can get rid of the ball quick. He certainly can do a lot of things. But I think this football team is in trouble, and they may miss the playoffs.
Number three,
we just talked about him a minute ago, and Mac Jones, quarterback of the New England Patriots. What is Mac Jones? Is Mac Jones the guy that they selected in the first round who helped lead his team to the playoffs and somehow got himself into a Pro Bowl? Or is this a guy that we're going to look at and be like, yeah, they probably wind up drafting a quarterback in 2 years? Because clearly what we saw against the Raiders was something nowhere near what they saw a year ago. And I don't know if it was because the offensive line has played poor. I don't know if it's because the receivers didn't do what they're supposed to do or the coaches wasn't coaching them up. But what I do know is that he did not look good at all in the preseason.
Number two,
guess who's going to the Super Bowl? That's right. You heard it here first. The New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston and company will be in Arizona at the Super Bowl and not just attending, but actually playing in it. Because guess why? Michael Thomas is back at full strength. And so is his quarterback in Jameis Winston. And the rest of those New Orleans Saints. Hey, who that? That's all I can tell you.
Number one.
And sitting at number one is Justin Fields, quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields put on a display against the Cleveland Browns in the preseason. And I know it was only the preseason, but that ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for delivering of the football, understanding what the defense is doing to you, taking advantage of the defense. He looked like an NFL quarterback. I don't know what it was, but for some reason, the light switch in this particular game turned on, and I don't think it'll ever go off.
Harry, what you think about Key's observations?
I'll start with the Saints one. I think the Saints are going to be a lot better than a lot of people think. Watching Jameis Winston and the snaps that he was out there, I thought he looked good in the pocket. Now, he wasn't out there for many, but I actually thought he looked really, really good. We actually seen them run the same play that the Miami Dolphins ran, the same play of the first play of the game, where you had a deep post and an over. Chris Olave understanding where to go in zones and sat right down, and Jameis did a great job of hitting them. And then he had another play to Jarvis Landry on a deep out route, but held him up a little bit so he didn't go out there to coverage and take a big hit. I just love what I see. Then he hit Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield. I just think with the weapons that Jameis has this season, he has an opportunity to throw for over 4,000 yards, and I think well over it, and a numerous of touchdowns. We've seen what he was last year before he got hurt and how he led this team and how the New Orleans Saints basically were decimated at that quarterback position when he was not playing. And I think last year that was the only really void was the quarterback position. Do I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl and make it? I can't sit up here and say that. Y'all want me to get
Well,
killed
I'm going to say it. But listen,
I know, Key. I know, and you mention your nephew. You tell your nephew he better get that damn hamstring right. Get that hamstring right.
I know. Fine. Don't listen to reports.
Don't jump on me. Don't jump on me, Key. I'm just a messenger.
I'm not going to jump on you. I'm just saying his hamstring is fine.
I like your nephew. I like him.
Oh yeah, no,
I like
he all
him.
right. He's straight. You
I
know,
like
you
him.
know how
I
it
like
is.
him.
You get a little sore because you working yourself. You hadn't worked yourself in a minute, so you're getting
Yep.
back in a real game shape. So you get a
Exactly.
little tired, and so you rest him up a little bit, and then they say, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "I had a little hamstring," and then the media runs with it and make it seem as though he's missing the first 10 games of the year because he's got a little stiffness and a little sore that he got to get rubbed out. It's all right. We all good, man.
And I know a lot of people are picking Tampa to take over things in the NFC. Some people are in the NFC South, but you got to remember, Tampa has lost 4 of the last 5 games to the New Orleans Saints, and they have their number. In those 4 games, regular season games, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have given up 13 sacks, and the New Orleans Saints have found a way to get to Tom Brady and fluster him and frustrate him. Plus, you have secondary guys that can match up with the skill position players. Marshawn Lattimore, a lot of the times have been matched up with Mike Evans and gotten the best of that matchup. So I think when you look at those two teams, I give, honestly, the Saints a little bit of edge, even though they lost. Sean Payton and Dennis Allen is their head coach. But when you have a guy like Pete Carmichael who has been in that system, been with this team, it's not like they're losing everybody. These guys that are in positions now, they have been with that team for numerous of years. So it's not like they're just going to be decimated and depleted because Sean Payton's no longer there. People didn't forget how to play football. The coaches didn't forget how to coach. It's just going to be a little different. But Jameis Winston being healthy and being able to deliver the football down the field with the weapons that he has, I think could be a scary thing if they're hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, and look, people bring up Sean Payton being gone. That is a key. There's no question about it.
Can't minimize
But what
that.
I would say, and you probably don't know this, Harry, because you probably were in high school at the time and really not paying attention to all of the NFL head coaches and whatnot and teams and things of that nature. But Dennis Allen was a decent defensive coordinator before he became a head coach with the Raiders. Mm-hmm. You wasn't going to win with the Raiders and Al Davis and what they was putting together. Nobody was going to win in Oakland with that at that particular time in that stretch when he was the head coach. He didn't have this roster. He didn't have these players. So when you look at it, his second bite at the apple is a different set than it was when he was an Oakland Raiders coach. Totally different. Totally different. That's why I believe, losing Sean Payton certainly going to hurt, but this team is so loaded that you got to be a dang on fool to mess it up.
Well,
now, I'll tell you, Key, a big miss, though, Trevor Penning. And let me tell you why I like Trevor Penning, offensive line-wise. That's who they drafted to replace Teron Armstead. When I did my draft evaluations, he was the nastiest, literally the nastiest offensive lineman in the draft. I mean, if you was a defensive player, your head better have been on the swivel because he was going to try to knock you out any and every time. Now, he need to get a little bit better pass blocking, but in the run game, and that will come with the guys that he's going against every day. But losing him to a foot injury, I think it's going to be huge for him. But I think New Orleans will still figure it out some kind of way.
Yeah, and I think so, Freddie. When you talk about quarterbacks trying to figure it out, and you look at Jameis Winston, and you look at some of the quarterbacks in the NFC.
Sure.
And I talked about Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a young quarterback who is up and coming. Okay, doesn't have a whole lot around him. There's no question about it. But the one thing that gives me hope and promise with him is he did everything the right way. He went to all his right reads. He didn't look like he was out there guessing and struggling. It looked like he became a professional quarterback. And I know it's only the preseason, and you're not getting everything thrown at you, but you don't need to. When you gain that confidence the way this young man has displayed this preseason for me, I wouldn't be shocked if his ability would lead them to fight it out for a much better season than what people think, just because of him. You know, it's almost like a Lamar Jackson effect to a degree where the players around him all of a sudden just get better.
In 2 minutes, we'll talk about Justin Fields, his second season in Chicago, and how that word regret may affect another football team that did not draft him. We'll do that here in 2 minutes here in Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max with Keyshawn Johnson, Freddie Coleman, Harry Douglas on ESPN Radio, as well catches on ESPN2. Weighing on Keyshawn's list. Among that, Tampa Bay missing the playoffs, New Orleans going to the Super Bowl. You can do that at 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. Marlon in New York, what do you have to say about a part of Keyshawn's list?
Yes, I like to say that Tom Brady